In today's video, I am going to be breaking down Elijah Fisher and LeBron James back when LeBron James was in high school. These are two amazing basketball players, so let's get down and let's check out what makes them so similar. Okay, so basically leaving these big dunks behind, let's actually break down their skills. So first, let's look at Elijah Fisher. What is making him so great right now at the high school level? Here he's driving on his defender and he has basically gained position. He doesn't necessarily have his shoulder in front of that defender's shoulder. However, he has the angle to the basket, and then when a help defender comes over, he's got the body control to be able to finish with that floater. Obviously, you're going to need to go up with two hands, but you're going to need a lot of core strength to be able to do this specific move. He's also extremely good at being able to attack these zone defenses, getting between those gaps to be able to set up that floater. See, the weakness to a 2-3 zone is, of course, when this happens. If you can attack it down the middle, you're going to be pulling up that middle defender, in which case you should be able to get around him if you see it early enough and of course hit that floater. He also has a very good shot, and in my opinion, shooting form wise, he has a better shot than LeBron James. The reason why I say that is LeBron James, when he was in his earlier years, had a little bit of a chicken wing where the elbow was flared just a bit. However, what we can see here is that ball is right over top of that shoulder. Elbow and shoulder is in line with the rim, which makes that shooting triangle, and of course a very accurate and consistent shot with zero thumb flick and a very high release with the elbow above the forehead, and he has that soft release like Curry, which allows him to hit a lot of shots. I cannot also deny the fact that he can pass the ball extremely well, just like LeBron James back when LeBron James was in high school. We can see that here as well when he's trying to drive on a bigger player. He has the defense collapse on him. He has a very smart player who's cutting back door, and he's able to send up an alley-oop to that player. This was actually very smart. So he has three players who are paying attention to him. His player on his team is very smart. He even asks for the ball, and then he's able to hit that player with a perfect alley-oop right between the height of the rim and bottom of the backboard. That is a perfect alley-oop in my opinion for a high school player, and of course that player is able to finish. Something else as well is when he cuts baseline, he's always looking for that pass. So here he is driving baseline, and when you drive baseline, especially against a zone, you are going to be getting a lot of defenders on you. And by cutting baseline, that allows you to see the entire court as to what is happening. You're basically seeing the reverse of what the defense is seeing, and that will allow you to find players, if they're smart, cutting to the basket from the gaps. He's also very smart, able to basically create space by using that shoulder. No, that is not an offensive foul, and he's able to hit that floater. The reason why this is not an offensive foul is because he has his shoulder over top of his foot, which means that he owns that land anyways. That player is encroaching on his land and obviously not set, and because of that, he's able to get that floater, and technically could have been called an and one if it wasn't an and one already, which after that flex, it definitely looks like it was an and one. I also really want to point out that his shot looks absolutely amazing. And because his shot is such a straightforward shot with that shoulder in line with the elbow, he's able to do a lot of these pull-ups as we see here. Here he's driving on his player. He has his shoulder in front of his defender's shoulder. He has position. He does a quick one-step stop for his jump shot. He's stepping into his jump shot, and here he's able to pull around, get that left foot down, and then when he's going up for his shot, watch his elbow. His elbow is not bending. It's already pre-bent. He's bringing that ball up the middle of his body, and he's able to get that shoulder and elbow in line perfectly. It goes off of course, those two fingers, the pointer and middle finger. He has a split finger release, which is what most players should shoot like, and of course high release allows him to hit a lot of shots. Also, he's a pretty darn good defender. But I think the only reason why he shows his defensive skills is so that he can get those blocks and turnovers so that he can go the other way and smash down some dunks. And as I was mentioning with Elijah Fisher, LeBron James in high school also could pass the ball extremely well. However, the difference with LeBron James is the fact that he had such a huge gravity. Nobody wanted that guy to score. He gathered a lot of eyes, and because of that, he was able to find open players really easily. Here we have a pin down point to corner screen. LeBron LeBron James goes from the wing down into the post, and now we have to remember that he did have much bigger size on his defenders back when he was in high school. He was able to get a lot of post position, and because of that, he was able to get some easy baskets at the rim. This is an example of his jump shot. It is a much slower jump shot. We can't really see from this angle the chicken wing where the elbow was out, but we can see that his shot is actually a lot slower. A lot of the times he would bring that ball up in his left hand, which then placed it into his right. That is something that a lot of players do. I'm not saying that's wrong, I'm just saying it's a little bit slower in most cases. And we can also see from this clip that he had a one finger release, and that one finger was what looks to be his pointer finger, which of course could be the big reason why he was not a very high percentage shooter. I'm not saying that is a negative thing. He was a very high percentage shooter for a high school player, but again, could have been higher. Something that both Elijah Fisher and LeBron James do is a lot of jabs, a lot of pivots, and we can kind of see how that chicken wing is somewhat here. However, you really do see how the elbow does flare quite a bit when he starts coming off of a dribble and not necessarily off of a pull-up jumper here. He had more of a hard release as well, like Michael Jordan, but apparently he did model his game around MJ as well as Kobe. Apparently, I'm not saying that he did. I don't see much in his game as to those two players. However, that is what he said in many interviews, of course, on ESPN. LeBron was also a very good defender. Of course, anyone with the hops that he had was going to be a good defender at the high school level anyways. And of course, very good post player, getting offensive and defensive rebounds too. This is kind of a good example as to what I was talking about with the chicken wing. He comes off of that step back here, and he does tend to have it slightly flared out, which of course still he was able to make a lot of his shots, but there is a little bit of a shooting percentage difference between these two players. If we look back at historical stats, there is about a 4 to 5% difference between Elijah Fisher and LeBron James from the three-point line. Anyways, I hope that you've enjoyed today's video. Both of these players are extremely good players. I think that Elijah Fisher could be the next LeBron James style player, and he comes from Canada, my home country. So anyways, I hope that you've enjoyed. Hit that like button, subscribe, and I'll see you guys again next time.